everybody, it's me, Minu, back with another video. New hair. Show you guys this again. This is how it looked. Today I want to give you guys an update on, some of the stuff I've been going through, but also share about the experience of me going through my first haunted house. It was kind of the first, kind of not the first. Well, I'll explain in a second. Okay. So it was Friday, and I got back from the doctor. I did a little work. And then after that, I was like, everybody good? Everybody good at work? All right. I'm logging off early because I want to go meet this friend. So I get off early. I drive out to meet them. I'm super nervous, not because of meeting them, but because just driving back at night in the new city. First of all, I'm going to another new city that I'd never been to before. I live in a new city, and I'd never driven at night in this city before. So I was very nervous about that. And it started to rain because the universe got jokes. But I finally make it out there. I see them. We get to the haunted house, okay? Now, this is technically the first haunted house I'd ever been to. The only time I've been to a haunted house previously was in college. Some of the people that I went to college with decorated a floor, not really a floor, kind of like a big room. They decorated like a big room at college, and then they put on like their own haunted house thing. So they dressed up and they had the lights and scary music playing. And so that was like my haunted house experience. And the reason that I'd never really been to like an official real haunted house is just because my friends didn't like horror stuff. They didn't like being scared. So they were like, we would never do this. This is stupid. I'm not doing it. So this is my first time going to a real actual haunted house. And I was informed that it was apparently the scariest in the country. Let you guess where the fuck that was. Now, one thing I realized about myself is that me loving horror movies is not the same thing as loving haunted houses. I think maybe I should just do like haunted house tours because I was not ready. Like, first of all, we get there and it's a whole event. It's a whole experience. It's not like you just go in a haunted house. Like they had, sitting outside. There was all these areas outside where people who had paid to be touched could be like touched by the actors and stuff like that. And so that was nice. They had a band, they were playing music, there was fire pits everywhere. People were hanging out, eating food, chilling, waiting for their turn to go through the haunted house. I was like, oh, it's pretty cool. And so we paid to, get like the expedited, to go through it faster, basically, to skip the line. And as we're waiting to skip the line, we're talking to the lady and she's like, yeah, it's the scariest in the country and da da da. And we were like, oh, it's our first haunted house. And like, oh, wow, this is going to be great. It was okay. It was okay, I guess, kind of, sort of. Because I'm autistic as fuck. So I was expecting, there's a difference to me between being scared and being like startled. And this was a lot of jump scares. One, the flashing lights. And apparently this is all standard haunted house stuff. I did not know this. Flashing lights was a lot. That was a lot on my eyes. I was very disoriented. And I get that that's the point. The loud noises, was also a lot. And I should have put my loops in. Like, what was I doing? Not putting my loops in. But, like, my friend, she did not tell me anything before we went in because she didn't want me to predict what was going to happen because like that's the fun, right? So the constant screaming in your ear, like literally a guy was following me down the hall just screaming as loud as possible directly into my ear. No, I didn't like that at all. It wasn't scary. It was just triggering, because I don't like being yelled at. So them like screaming was just like, and I could tell that I looked like a perfect victim. And I was in the back of the line because I didn't know that was the wrong place to be. But I could tell that I looked like the perfect victim. And my friend was one of those people who she liked to talk shit when she's in the haunted house. So they were like yelling and about, stuff to scare them. And she was like, whatever, I do what I want. Because she just wanted to provoke them. And I was just like, you're not with me. You're not with me. Because I don't like this. Like I'm usually a pretty tough person. I'm a very brave person, considering I drove all the way out here to go to do all this stuff with somebody who I'd never met in person before. I'm a pretty brave person. I don't want to unnecessarily provoke the crazy dude jumping up on the table who is screaming at us. I know he can't do anything. I just didn't want him to scream in my face again. I didn't want that to happen again. Um but the parts of it that I thought was actually scary, which I did find fun, was the things that like legitimately caught me off guard. So like going through and not knowing like who's a prop and who's an actual person waiting to attack you. That was fun. That was scary. That was fun. Like I would be walking into a room looking at these like statues and stuff being like, I don't trust it. I don't trust it. I feel like there's going to be a dude there. I feel like that's an actual person with a mask on. Like that was really fun. Um there were these weird areas where I didn't even know what it was supposed to be. But like the floors were shaking and stuff, which I also found fun. It was disorienting, but it was fun. And there was this one part where we got down the hallway and I'm in the back. Again, remember, I'm in the back. So we're going down the hallway. Like we left one area, we're going to another area. And there was like so many different like scenes or whatever in this haunted house. Like, so there was like multiple different like scenarios we were walking through. So we leave one and we're going to the other one. We walk down the hallway, we turn the corner, and as we turn the corner, behind me down the hall, as I'm turning the corner, behind me down the hall, a dude comes out with a chainsaw and he's like running and screaming at us. And it freaked me the fuck out. And I took off. I nearly knocked my friend into the guy in front of her. And they were doing these in like very small groups too. I nearly knocked my friend into the guy in front of her because I was like, bitch, move. I was like, oh, hell no. Like, I'm going. Like, I was gone. I was not, and I get, like, my friend, she's white. She was, like, standing there, letting them do their thing and trying to see how far they'll go and all of that stuff. Like, again, we did not pay to get touched. I told her I wasn't doing that. I wasn't getting touched. I was a no touchy person. But just seeing how far they would go without, like, touching her, and she was, like, just having the time of her life, I was like, bitch, go. I know he can't hurt me, but that scared the shit out of me. Because literally, I don't know even how he knew that the last person was turning the corner at that moment. That was a perfect jump scare. And it legitimately, the whole rest of the tour had me looking behind me to see if the door actually closed or not. Because sometimes they would close the door and the motherfuckers would open it back up to come after us. So that was pretty good. And I'm not telling you like every single detail of the haunted house. Just the parts that I actually enjoyed because it's the first time doing this. There was a lot of dark areas where you couldn't even see where you were going. And I was like holding on to my friend because I didn't want to get lost because I did not know where we were supposed to be going. Like genuinely, I was like, is this a one track? Is there two tracks? Are they separating? Because like at one point, dude was like, we actually went in with other people and they separated us. And so I was like, friend, don't leave me. I'm holding on to you. It's me back here. Don't leave me. Don't separate from me. Cause I will have a panic attack. Because it's like half of it was fun, right? There was the genuine scares, and then the other half of it was just sensory overload. Like all of the noise, like so many noises at once was really hard for my artistic ears um to process. And then like the flashing lights made it worse, but then when we got into areas where it was like super dark and super quiet, I was like, hey, this ain't bad, I mean, I can't see where I'm going, but I like this area. I like that it's really dark and quiet, and maybe somebody will jump out and spook me, that's fine. But it was just the times when it was just like you had like screaming with chainsaw, with banging on doors and walls, and it was just way too many noises happening at the same time. um and then we got to the end, and I wrote my name on the wall. I wrote Minu on the wall. So if you guys go to a haunted house, if you went to a haunted house this October and you were writing on a wall and you saw Minu, that I was there. That was me. Um, and my friend was like, "What the hell is that?" Because she don't follow the channel. She doesn't know that I go by Minu. She was like, "What in the world did you just write on this wall?" And I was like, "I wrote my name." Um, I would say it was half fun. And after we left out of there and we sat, and I was like, I need to sit down because I was literally shaking because I was so overstimulated. And she was like, like, let's get pictures with some of the people. And so we were doing that too. Because they had people like walking around outside because it's a whole event, right? Walking around outside. So like we were getting pictures and I was just like, I just need to sit down for a minute. And she was like, oh, what an adrenaline rush. And I was like, I don't like adrenaline. I don't. I don't ride roller coasters purely because I don't like adrenaline. Do I like the anxiety of being scared? Like when I'm watching a horror movie and I don't know what's going to happen next? Yes. Do I like someone comes out of nowhere and shakes you and screams in your face to get your blood pumping and freaks you out? No. I don't like that. I don't need the physical sensation of adrenaline. My amygdala scares me every day. Okay? My amygdala is always activated and it is always giving me some type of terrifying horror on a daily basis. You don't need to physically stimulate me to get my adrenaline running. My cortisol levels are consistently high. Um, but yeah, I would say if it was a during the day thing, just because of too, like I had to drive home after that. And so I really did not want to stay very long because it was already dark outside. And I did not want to stay very long because I had a long drive to get home. But I said if I had come during the day, like right when they opened, maybe when the sun was still out a little bit, I would have definitely after I did the haunted house, I would have definitely like hung out and took pictures because like they had stuff, they had like cornhole and shit. So like I would have definitely like hung out more, took pictures, enjoyed the band. Like they had a lot of food that they were selling too. So it was like a whole thing. And I don't know if this is common with a lot of other haunted houses because that was the first one I had been to. But it was like a whole thing. And I'm just not a night person, I get up every day consistently at like 7, 8 a.m. So I'm not really somebody who stays up late. I feel like if I lived like in the city that we were in, if I was like nearby, or maybe even if I had a hotel or something, I would have been cool with staying out later. But I had to drive home. I had to go back to my cats. So yeah, it was half fun. There were parts of it that were genuinely scary. And the parts that were genuinely scary were the parts that I enjoyed. The parts that were just like, I want to disorient you and overstimulate you, that's not scary to me. Like, people just screaming in my ear, that's not scary. That's just you screaming in my ear. Banging on stuff is not scary. It's just you banging on stuff, you know but creating a good like atmosphere where I literally don't know what's going to happen next, that is what I enjoyed. So okay, so I just wanted to pop in real quick, you guys, because I wanted to give an update on this story about the hot. So as you can see, this is future Minu, and my hair is doing whatever it does. It don't look too bad, but it's just doing whatever it does. I talked to my therapist about my haunted house experience. And this woman looked at me like, duh. And I was like, what you mean, duh? And she literally was like, haunted houses are not supposed to be scary. And I was like, excuse me? I thought that was the thing. That was the whole point. They're scary. That's like the thing. She was like, no, haunted houses aren't scary. It's just supposed to be like, people screaming at you and flashing lights. And it's funny. It's not really a scary event. I mean, I guess maybe if you pay for them to touch you, but you're just walking through a thing and getting screamed at and having flashing lights. Like, it's not scary. And I was like, I don't understand. And she was like, you were expecting to go to like a haunted house in the sense of like a house where someone died and maybe there's a ghost or something present. And I was like, I mean, I didn't think it was going to be somebody's house, but I was expecting to be scared. And she was like, yeah, a haunted location or an abandoned location that is spooky is not the same thing as a haunted house. A haunted house is you go into a building and they flash the lights and they scream at you, and it's a bunch of noises that startle you. One time out of each haunted house, you may get startled by something, but that's it. And that's why your friend was laughing, and that's why she was provoking people. I do the same thing because I think that it's funny. But no, I never really get scared at haunted houses. I've been to tons of haunted houses. And I was like, ain't this about a bitch? This is not fair. So you mean to tell me that I paid money to go to an autistic's worst nightmare? I just paid money to be potentially sent into a meltdown, but not actually be scared? Because there's a difference between... Morticia, what you want? Come on over and say hi. I know you like to walk across my thing. Come on. Yep. Yep. Go ahead. Do your little walkthrough. Do your thing. Yes, ma'am. You gonna lay in front of my computer and stop me from working? Okay. Booty all on the microphone. Ma'am. I love you too, Morticia, but I need to finish what I was saying. Oh, this is where you want to sit? Of all places? You couldn't sit to the side or nothing? Morticia. You gonna come down here? Come down here. Yeah, come down here. Come on. Come on, yeah. You can get on my lap. That'll be helpful. Yeah. Oh my God. All the cat butt. And Morticia does not have the cleanest butt. It's Sadie has the clean butt. Morticia, sometimes she be needing help. There you go. Thank you, baby. Anyway, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, yeah, she was saying that, and I was very disappointed because I was like, no wonder my friend like does a whole thing where she goes to multiple haunted houses every October, because it's not scary. So I was very disappointed. So I had even posted on social media. I was like, my therapist told me that the haunted houses aren't supposed to be scary. So like, what do I do if I want to be scared during the month of October? Like, do I go back to the hood? I've already been there, so I don't need to go back. Like, what do I do? And nobody online got what she was saying. Everybody online was like, what are you talking about? That's the point. They're supposed to be scary. And then people were like, you're probably just desensitized, Minu. You probably just been to too many of them. And I was like, this was my first one. I've not been desensitized to anything. If anything, I was overstimulated. But everybody was like, no, you're not saying anything. Shut up. Be quiet. So maybe my therapist is just a major savage and haunted houses are scary. I don't know. I know that there are the ones, she did mention that there are the ones where you pay to basically be tortured. Um, and if you make it through it, you get like so much money, but they like really like torture you. And those, my therapist is like, don't do that. Don't do that. You have enough trauma. Um, but yeah, haunted houses, I guess they're just not my thing. It's some like being scared in a safe environment. It has its appeals, right? Like that's kind of what I wanted, but literally one girl, as we walked through one room, the girl by the door just stood there screaming at the top of her lungs for as long as possible. I thought she was going to run out of breath because it was literally just a consistent long scream as we walked through the room. And that's annoying because I'm like, you're not even doing anything. Like, props to the people who are actors, right? Who are like, they're jumping up on the table and they're saying their lines and all that stuff and they're like following you around. Props to them. But like the ones where it was just like standing there screaming, they could have got a robot to do that. They need to pay somebody to stand there and actually scream. Hurt her throat doing that all night long. Like, I felt bad for her. Because it's not interesting. In my brain, like I have a lot of white noise machines. If there's a consistent sound, my brain will be like, okay, whatever, I don't care. So I guess in a way, it was better than just random noises because I am very sensitive to like random noises that I hear, and my cats are too. So I don't like random noises that are unexplained. But if I'm in a haunted house, random unexplained noises make sense. So it wasn't scary. It was overstimulating. I'm going to go back to past Minu to finish out the video. So bye. And my friend, she was like, yeah, we should do another one. There's one. There's a haunted house in Atlanta. There's a haunted house in North Carolina. There's a haunted house, and like she wants to go to all these. I'm like, yeah. Next year we can go to a different haunted house in the South. We can do every year. We can go to one haunted house in the South. But I can't do no damn haunted house multiple times in a month. I just cannot do it. My heart can't take it. I'd be too stressed out. I'd be too upset. You know what I mean? I'd be too overstimulated. Not to mention the fact too, like the physical therapist I saw that morning did get me right, but then I did have cramps after the haunted house, probably because I got triggered, and my body is very sensitive to being triggered. And so I'm just like, my brain does enough damage for you to not need to overstimulate my physical body. As I always say, take care of yourself because you deserve it. Drink your water, eat your food, take your naps. No one can live in this body but you, so you gotta nourish it, you know? I will see you guys next week. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Bye.